why the judge said no.
Here on this cafe,
Tavarius, is everything okay?
Okay.
our government leaders have abandoned me.
Are you the owner?
$4 trillion of stimulus money. They gave it to who? Special interest groups and campaign donors. I'm Dave Morris. I own the place.
So what's going on?
What's going on? You know what's going on.
Tell me. You tell me.
Hey, we got a government that has taken the stimulus money. They gave it to special campaign donors. They gave it to special interests. They abandoned me, and they have put me in a position where I have to fight back. Okay?
So do you feel that this is the right thing to do?
Absolutely. I feel everybody needs to stand up. Hey, listen, there was enough money to give every family in this country $20,000 to go home for 2 months. They chose to give it to special interests and campaign donors, the Kennedy Space Center, and they abandoned us. So you could have given me money. I'd gladly walk away for 60 days and let this virus settle down. I'm not going to do it alone. Okay?
Are you going to continue to violate the state's orders and stay open?
This is a state order. This isn't an order. This is a conspiracy. This is a tyranny.
What do you want to tell other restaurant owners who...
Wake up. Stand up. This is America. Be free. I got patriots coming out supporting me.
Hallelujah. Very honest words that, by the way, had to be forced on the news. Otherwise, you most likely would have never heard them. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org. A very important video today about the Great Reset, which has been officially confirmed by a key administration member of the new Joe Biden presidency that has officially said the Great Reset will happen at a greater speed and greater intensity than a lot of people might imagine. Yes, very key explosive words from John Kerry that, of course, will have a severe effect on you and your way of life. And as all of this is happening, major urban areas in the United States are going under a full lockdown. As in Los Angeles right now, all travel, including travel on foot, bicycle, scooter, motorcycle, automobile, or public transport, is prohibited. And failure to, quote, comply with this order will constitute a misdemeanor subject to fines and imprisonment. Since, you know, if you commit the horrible crime of driving alone in a car by yourself, or even worse, paddle boarding on the beach by yourself, you're going to be accosted and jumped on by a large number of officers that will throw you in a cell filled with a lot of people not social distancing, all for the crime of allegedly not social distancing. Again, everything is completely backwards in our modern day society, and that is definitely exemplified in the current events that are unfolding right now in Los Angeles, whose mayor is strongly enforcing the LAPD and the city's attorney to, quote, vigorously enforce this. All of this is on the heels on allegedly the highest daily cases of conholio sickness deaths, which everyone is using as an excuse to blame on their favorite political enemy. Black Lives Matter, Joe Biden presidential celebrations, corporatist holidays like Black Friday, all of those get their stamp of approval from these government officials. Meanwhile, it's you and meeting your family during Thanksgiving and Christmas that are the real culprits here, since you caused all of this misery. Don't you dare even question the logic of this utter insanity. And I have to say, it's very interesting to see politicians talking about how this is such a grave threat. Meanwhile, they don't take it seriously themselves, just like the mayor of Austin, Texas, that told residents to stay home as he literally went on a private vacation in Mexico and even attended a wedding. Yes, this Democratic Karen that likes to lecture you about how you should live your life is literally in charge of arresting people for not following the rules, which he himself is not following. So yeah, you don't be a little smart aleck and start asking some questions here, because that's not what your role is to do here. Your role is to listen to the mainstream media and obey. Mainstream media that, of course, works very closely with psychological operations military units to help cater the right propaganda, PR, and slogans for you to follow, all based on the latest manipulation psychological studies. That actually happens, but hey, we're here as an independent media organization, still uncovering a lot of this for you on this platform, which we're still luckily to be here. Of course, as you know, we were kicked out of the partner program and demonetized, so we very heavily rely on your support to keep us up and running. Patreon.com/wearechange is one way for you to do this. I'm going to start uploading a lot of behind the scenes, very fun videos for you guys specifically, because your support is more imperative than ever. And on that platform right now, you could see highlights from our EFIT 2020 bash, where we went on a scavenger hunt against government-connected pedo scarecrows, or you could see my crazy daily routine to stay healthy and boost my immune system. So yeah, if you want to check those out, you could unlock those by simply subscribing to our Patreon account, which is again on patreon.com/wearechange. The link will be down in the description below. Now, today we got a shocking admission from inside of Joe Biden's new administration that has literally left me awe-stunned after reading this latest article by The Hill, which is accurately titled, "John Kerry Reveals Biden's Devotion to Radical Great Reset Movement." Now, this is a very chilling read, and especially a very eye-opening one. Now, Joe Biden, by and large, has been relatively quiet about the Great Reset and this topic that the New York Times, by the way, says doesn't exist, but yet it's still an idea that is literally being promoted and pushed by the Gates Foundation, the IMF, the United Nations, the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, and many multinational corporations that are set to gain from this, quote, Great Reset. Now, this confirmation about the Great Reset coming a lot quicker and faster than a lot of people imagine under the Biden administration are made by John Kerry. He is the former Secretary of State, a well-known establishment shill, but also right now he is having a very important role in the Biden administration as he is now announced to be the, quote, special presidential envoy for climate change. Now, this article starts off and says, quote, "In June, elites at important international institutions such as the World Economic Forum and the United Nations launched a far-reaching campaign to reset the global economy. The plan involves dramatically increasing the power of government through expansive new social programs like the Green New Deal and using vast regulatory schemes and government programs to coerce corporations into supporting left-wing causes." The two justifications for the proposal, which has been aptly named by its supporters the Great Reset, are the conholio sickness pandemic, the short-term justification, and the so-called climate crisis caused by global warming, the, quote, long-term justification. And already it is important to point out that major establishment think tanks and establishment figures have been already putting out these concepts that there should be a climate lockdown to halt climate change, where the government would limit private vehicle use, the banning of consumption of red meat to, quote, do capitalism different. So already the talking points are coming out about more government, more socialism, and more control of your life, just like we're seeing government use at an extensive abusive level right now in mainly left-leaning cities like California, where already they are restricting the use of your car, even though you're by yourself, and absolutely pose no risk at all to anyone. And there's no science behind this. There is a lot of manipulation and use of force behind this that is absolutely disgusting and needs to be called out, since of course it's punishing people. The article goes on and says, according to the Great Reset supporters, the plan would fundamentally transform much of society. As World Economic Forum head Klaus Schwab, this guy right here, wrote back in June, the world must act jointly and swiftly to revamp all aspects of our societies and economies, from education to social contracts and working conditions. Every country from the United States to China must participate, and every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. In short, we need a great reset of capitalism. Now, when you look at Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, you don't really see a reset of capitalism. You see the end of it as they vehemently, gleefully and happily called for with their vision of 2030, which they had to revamp the title, which originally was Welcome to 2030, I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. I'm sorry, but just redefining slavery doesn't make anything better. Not owning anything, not having any privacy is a bad thing. Having the government, which is incompetent, can't even run the DMV, the post office right of, and you want them in charge of your every single move is a very bad move. Especially corrupt governments, especially if you know what the term democide means. If you don't, Google that right now. History is a very important learning lesson to what we're going through right now. Yeah, I'm sorry, this vision of resetting capitalism is essentially ending it according to their own aspiration and goals. Let's just call a spade here. The article goes on saying internationally, the Great Reset has already been backed by influential leaders, activists, academia, institutions, in addition to the World Economic Forum and United Nations. This also includes the IMF, heads of state, Greenpeace, and CEOs of large corporations and financial institutions such as Microsoft and MasterCard. Essentially what they're saying here is the big establishment corporate globalist overlords support this plan, since of course they have everything to gain from this reset of capitalism and you have everything to lose from it. Now the article continues specifically quoting John Kerry here, who they say firmly declared that the Biden administration will support the Great Reset and that the Great Reset, quote, will happen with greater speed and with greater intensity than a lot of people might imagine. The article goes on, when asked by panel host Borg Brenda whether the World Economic Forum and other Great Reset supporters are expecting too much too soon from the new president, or is he going to deliver first day on this topic, the Great Reset, Kerry responded, quote, the answer to the question is no. You're not expecting too much. And yes, the Great Reset will happen, Kerry continued, and it will happen with greater speed and with greater intensity than a lot of people might imagine. Wow, those are very powerful words with a lot of implications. And to me, this is absolutely terrifying, and it should be to anyone else paying attention. And again, to go along with the official talking points and programming, the article goes on and says, Kerry later argued that the Great Reset is necessary to slow the climate crisis, and that, quote, I know Joe Biden believes it's not enough just to rejoin the Paris Climate Accords for the United States. It's not enough for us just to do the minimum of what Paris requires. Kerry also said that because of the Great Reset movement, he believes we're at the dawn of an extremely exciting time, and that the greatest opportunity will have to address social and economic problems in dealing with the climate crisis. Now, just on its face value, to be honest with you, I don't trust someone to solve the social and economic problems when they're a part of the same institutions that literally caused them. When you look at this wider disparity of income, of wealth, it has the direct fingerprints of neoliberal policies and corporatist policies from the globalists that essentially run our political system. Let's not kid ourselves here. Corporations have an exorbitant amount of power when it comes to policy making in the United States, and many times politicians go with them rather than the will of the people. This happens time and time again. Our modern society has been shaped by this, for these same architects, for these same individuals, especially with the corporations that profited off of it the most, calling for a global reset because things are bad, which they made bad, needs to be called out. Right now, massive bailouts are happening on Wall Street, and no one even knows about it. Just like this business owner mentioned in the beginning of this video, there was corporate government bailouts that could have given every citizen $20,000, but that money, of course, went to special interests. This is happening on a massive hyper scale with secret Federal Reserve bailouts that the quasi-private public institution, the Federal Reserve, isn't even reporting and is keeping top secret where their money that they're printing out of thin air is going to. And it's happening at a scale where literally 23% of all US dollars have been printed just this year alone. Who benefits off of that? private institutions like BlackRock that are becoming more powerful than even Goldman Sachs, and of course are having a cushy position within the new Biden administration, as now two executives that worked for BlackRock are set to take major important roles in the U.S. Treasury and the National Economic Council. Corporatists, the globalists, the politicians that sold you out want to help you from all the pain and suffering that they caused you. Sorry, mark me down as hell freaking no! Now again, these eye-opening comments by John Kerry were at the WEF event just moments ago, and they solidify what the next 4 years of the Biden administration will be. And it is essentially the selling out of America for the benefit of the extremely powerful billionaire banking cartel and tech class that absolutely believes in human slavery rather than free will. And they are greedy little creatures that won't stop until they literally rob you blind. This is, again, according to my own personal opinion. And again, they've been laying down the foundations for this for a very long time, as John Kerry has been talking about this great reset for a while right now, specifically when it came to climate change, the Green New Deal, the Paris Accords, and other leftist controlling big government bureaucratic policies that want to take control of your life, all in the name of trying to change the weather and fight inequality that him and his buddies are causing. Again, the conholio sickness is a big opportunity for a lot of individuals, mainly because a lot of people don't know what's going on. And because they don't know what's going on, when they hear someone coming in and trying to, quote, help them and save them and give them money and give them things, they don't understand that they're literally, essentially going into a trap. And sadly, a lot of the American public is largely misinformed, and the best way to fight that is by starting a conversation. Friends, family members, co-workers, random people walking down the street, I don't care. Share this video any way you can. And even if it's not this video, an article or a meme from this video, start the conversation, start the dialogue. It's more important than ever that you get the word out there about what is actually happening right now. There's a lot of algorithms, there are a lot of programs, there are a lot of demonetizations, there's a lot of incentives trying to get me to stop doing this, but the only thing keeping me going is your support and you sharing this video, and without you, I wouldn't be here, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.